pans out between these two teams. And I do still favor Felt's draft, right? Like it might be a very even series, and I hope it is for our sake, for the entertainment's sake, but I don't know. This draft from Bait makes me question a lot. The only thing that I really dislike on Felt is the Centaur pick, because I feel like we've seen Fade Centaur offlane before, and it just never pops off.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the aspects here from the side of Fault that feels a little bit more awkward. Granted, it's like a stable stun to set up for Arrow if you kind of want to play that way in the lane. So there's always a little bit of kill threat. I do feel like you're looking for level 3 to be really stable on the Centaur. First 2 levels, you might be able to harass fairly nicely here on Stonebank and on Stominant. So it's pretty open, at the very least, for you to do what you want. Sorry, Stonebank and Lodine. And again, I'm keen to see just how much this Vengeance Aura does with Wind Ranger. I mean, it's a big chunk of percent boost, you know, max level 28. Considering you just build stats on Wind Ranger, it does double down in value. But, I mean, you're dealing with really beefy heroes here as the lanes do break out. And we're taking a look at that mid. Dendi on the Quap up against Kits on the Timbersaw. Again, this one is a little bit better for the Quap. She does enjoy melee matchups. The Timbersaw can still walk up, use the Whirling Death, but it's not free harassment in as much as it is up against melee matchups like, say, the Void Spirit that we've seen it a lot up against, even some like the Ember. It is a little bit harder for Kits to kind of do what he wants, and it will take a few more levels. Like when you get level 2 reactive, that's when the lane feels stable, but Dendi's going to be able to pump out a lot of damage until that point.
Yeah, certainly so. And Kits probably understands the matchup very well, though. Does already have a Vanguard queued up on the Timbersaw, so is at the very least intending on being able to really just be a big tanky boy in the mid lane and be as annoying as possible. Just be as tanky as possible. Dendi, you gotta be careful not to take too many of those Whirling Deaths as well. Like we've seen a lot of this Whirling Death damage. It's kind of ridiculous at times, and for Dendi, like you are playing Quap. Obviously, for now, he doesn't want to level up Blink. He'd rather go the Shadow Strike build, but maybe worth going Blink if you do get constantly dived by Kits. As we are going to also look at the top lane, because you do have Hidden Moon and Albino Zebra against Funnick and Stominant. I think this should be a pretty decent lane for Funnick and Stominant. Like, you've got an Ench Beastmaster lane. Kind of hard to see them losing this one.
Yeah, they've got really good harass out. You're not going to get too much value here from your Frost Shield on Albino Zebra once the enchant is out. So you can't really stop the dives. You can't really protect Burna all too well. It's going to be pretty heavy on the harass from the side of Bait. At the same time, as long as you kind of maintain decent creep control, you should be able to last hit and sustain on the Bloodseeker. So it shouldn't be too bad. We're seeing Burna kind of just get some stable farm, not really losing out on too much just yet. Although this does get a little bit rougher as levels go up. Like level 4 for the side of Bait, maybe even level 5, it doesn't feel like it gets any easier for the Bloodseeker, and there's only so much your Lich can do to relieve that pressure.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, that final lane as well, the bottom lane, Fade, going to be around with Solji on that Mirana. Because against Lodine on the Venge and Stonebank on the Wind Ranger. Oh, power shot off the mark. Stonebank just trying to use it a little bit preemptively there. Does not end up landing it thanks to the leap of Solji. Don't think it would have been a kill anyway, but it would have been pretty darn close. You know, John, speaking of the Venge and the bonus damage she provides with the Venge Aura, you know, the funniest thing is they actually nerfed Venge's Vengeance Aura in 7.33, which I found surprising because nobody was picking the hero anyway. But they reduced it from 32% at max level to 28%. So yeah. I'm not sure what the frog saw in the Venge, but he seems to believe her time is coming.
I think he just saw Universal Heroes and realized with how much you get on heroes like that, 32% is a massive boost. Yeah. Especially in heroes that get like 200 damage by, I don't know, level 15 or something crazy like that. Forget my timings now. It is a lot. So I understand why the frog did this. Venge is still pretty dead of a hero, but it is what it is. Ice Frog knows best, Mike. How dare you question him?
Oh, I'd never question him, Jonathan. Never. Goodness me. This top lane's been going fairly okay considering how much harassment Hidden Immune was taken, I must admit. Still found 20 CS, 6 denies. Still ahead of Funnick in terms of that CS board, and that's very impressive because it did feel like this Ench Beastmaster should have been able to really zone him out quite effectively. But that hasn't really been the case yet.
No, it's not. And again, it's down to the fact that Burna's getting some really good lane control. He's putting the creeps exactly where he wants them to be. So as long as you find CS on Bloodseeker, you don't really get zoned out. You know, you're still able to farm. Albino Zebra doesn't bother with a point in the Frost Shield just because you're up against an Ench. You're probably never going to be able to get value out of that spell. You just kind of go for the harassment with the Frost Blast there. Get the Sinister Gaze to zone out, drain some mana from the creep. There is always a kill threat. You can land these spells, so and Albino Zebra's not safe.
Nah, he's probably just dead here. Albino is going to go down. Funnick able to secure first blood, and Soldier, even bottom lane, was getting extremely low on the Mirana, but is going to be just fine to walk out of there. But first blood for the Beastmaster going to feel like a pretty big boost here for Funnick. Allows him to pick up those arcane boots immediately, and now the Wild Axe spam can really get going. And this should keep up. Like, Dominant on the end should be able to zone them out very effectively using the level 2 enchant. Just the amount of bonus damage you give to the creep that you do enchant is just so ridiculous at level 2. 30 extra damage. So Dominant will probably just stick around and just keep ensuring that life is hard, though never mind. He's rotating mid lane where Kits is in trouble. Lodine going for a run. Then he's going to jump in and continue the chase on. Kits is trying to get out. Dominant, though, is microing the Mud Golem towards him, landing the stun with the follow-up from Lodine, but they don't have the damage. With the Vanguard up, he just proves to take literally no damage from the right clicks. As Dominant is still trying. Soldier is here now, but they just don't have enough for it. They can zone him out, but they can't kill him.
Yeah, he's holding on to dear life here. No stacks on the reactive, but you do see that spike coming out from the Timbersaw. That's a lot of focusing down from the side of Bait. Dandy fully out of mana now, so you gotta have a much better time on the Timbersaw to just hold this lane and just be that massive front line. Like, you open up space on the side lanes to feel a little bit better. You're relieving some pressure on Burna just by virtue of being very durable on the Timb. And you waste some time. Like, Bait don't really achieve much, although Burna...
Hit immune. Yeah, top lane. Nice bounce on the Siege shot there onto the Bloodseeker. This Warpine Raider creep, it can deal quite a bit of damage if you get the right bounces off. It's 200 damage being dealt to hit immune with that Siege shot, but overall, he is still just going to be able to keep farming and just passively regen up with Thirst. So Funnick, while he is finding his own farm quite effectively, they're still very unable to just slow down Hidden Immune, which I think may prove to be a bit of an issue, because he is finding too much CS, I think.
Yeah, the Bloodseeker, again, you don't have the most straightforward response here from the side of Bait outside of trying to kite him. It does feel like you're going to get a lot of value out from that Rupture overall. And you're going to be buffed up quite a fair bit. Like, I'm curious down the line as to who on Felt builds the Crimson Guard. They're trying to get onto Burna.
Oh, nice stun. Lodine setting up, but it was a bit of a shame. Dominant, I think he could have stunned first with a Centaur, but he kind of didn't micro. Meanwhile, bottom lane Stonebank, gonna wind run TP away. He's gonna be just fine to survive. Going back to my point, John, Dominant, he was trying to go for the Wisdom Rune, and I don't think he microed the Centaur to stun Hidden Immune before the Bloodright silenced the Centaur. So they couldn't chain stun to finish off the kill. And now it feels like Lodine, while he is applying a lot of pressure, I don't believe they're able to secure a kill here onto Hidden Immune up until Funnick has level 6. So Hidden Immune is going to run in. Funnick, one creep away from level 6. Rupture is out onto the Ench, and because of that Rupture, he does end up giving his own life away as Dendy is rotated now on the Quap. Roar is out. Soldier's going to cop that Roar as Funnick does kill off Albino Zebra. And the chase is still ongoing here from Lodine onto the Mirana, but now Kit's going to zone him out. And Lodine should probably just die here to the Timbersaw. But it's still a great trade for Bait. They find 2 for their trouble, losing only their Pos 5 Venge. And more importantly, they did end up killing off the POS1 Bloodseeker.
It's a little bit greedy coming out from the side of Felt. The lining up for a Rupture, not finding that kill onto the Ench anyway. They just TP out from Stominatin. I'm a bit surprised we didn't see the Stampede pop from Fade. I believe he had it right before the Bloodseeker died, and they didn't bother using that spell. So they didn't manage to get a disengage. They couldn't line up to let Kits look for a bigger kill. And overall, just punishing quite a fair bit from Bait. Bait managing to take quite a fair bit away from the side of Felt. They're grouping up mid now with the damage they have, just trying to get that tier 1 gone. Again, whenever Kit shows up, it's a little bit harder to rip right through, but the pressure's there.
Bottom, Stonebank caught out. Albino, he's there with the gaze, but they don't have anywhere near enough damage, so Stonebank can turn with the focus fire on Albino Zebra, who's still chasing him down, but can't do anything to try and stop Stonebank from just killing him off. There was a rotation from Dendy to ensure they did not keep diving with their Centaur. So Stonebank, I mean, with the max wind run, it is very challenging to kill off the Wind Ranger, but not so much anymore. Hit immune is going to show up. Nice Shackle, nice TP attempt, but it's still not there. Level 1 Shackle not lasting long enough. And the rotation from Hit immune, it does pay off.
And now they're going to be able to find that bot tier 1. So they managed to get the objective they'd want off of it. Bait, for their part, trying to get that push up top themselves. They should be able to get it done. They've got quite the creep army, although again, Kits just follows where the push is and does manage to hold it off. Do like the build up on Fate. He is rushing the blink. He's getting some hard lockdown coming through here for the side of Felt. Very important with, just having the Marana stun on top of that. You need good setup. It's going to be down to Fade to find these angles in these fights, because if you don't get to Rupture Dendy, he's going to be pretty free to just jump in and out. This hero is still highly mobile. The Quap is, as we see a pretty strong start here.
Kits loses his courier here, John. Nice little micro there from Stominatin. He just sent the creep right towards the tier 1 tower and just started hitting it with the neutral creepers. Hit immune, gonna die here to Stonebank. He did not have Rupture up. So you don't really want to lane against Stonebank without Rupture +1. And Hit immune does get caught with his pants down.
Again, a pretty big kill coming out from Bait. And this is looking to be a fairly close game. Like, you asked for it when we started off here. Bait are bringing out their A game to kind of hold back Felt early on. They're hitting these really good item timings coming out. You've got the Dominator already up for Funnick. You've got the room to farm into the Overlord. You don't have an easy solution from the side of Felt to deal with that Ancient Creep. And Kits is still doing fine mid, but he's not really popping off in the way that we've seen the Timbersaw mids pop off. And for Bait, and they're hitting this momentum.
Nice power insecure here by Lowdine, but they do have a lot of heroes coming in. Dendy going to pop the invis. It's just not enough, though. So you got the invis room, but you cost your mid laner his life. Dendy was underneath Sentry Ward, so he could not walk away from that, and Felt they won't mind losing the invis if it means killing off Dendy.
Gives them room to shove in mid. They've got the level 3 reactive, so you can just tank the front line on Kits, although.
I mean, I don't know. Roar is out, but do you have enough damage? The Frost Shield? Oh, nice Shackle. Stonebank. Gonna ensure there was no chain away. They'll have enough, just enough, in fact, to kill off the Timbersaurs. Or Bait. 6-3 now. Definitely in the lead here. Both the offlane and safe lane has proven to go very well for the side of Bait. They are finding that big initial farm, though in goes a big stun from Fade in the mid lane, finding Lowdine. Shackle is there, but Stonebank, can he actually kill Fade off? Fade, he thought about sticking around there for a moment with the retaliate. The Sonic Wave, Dendy gonna show up and Fade is gone. Nice rotation here from the Quap. Maybe if he had max level retaliate, he could have actually just stood his ground, but didn't have it.
Not quite up yet for Fade. The punishment is there from the side of Bait. Rather good back and forth. I think overall, for the side of Felt, you're still somewhat happy in kind of throwing this momentum off a bit, having to drag in the Wind Ranger to join these fights. But but these kills are starting to really ramp up for Stonebank, going into the Atos, into that Gleipnir that we tend to see the Wind Ranger cores go for nowadays. And once you hit that, and you've got AoE control, you can kind of nullify the Stampede from Fade and make it a lot more difficult for Felt to kind of get that in and out that they'd want in these engagements. A little bit of a smoke play out from Felt here, though.
Radiant are scanning.
Where's the smoke headed? What are they trying to achieve? Line's been drawn out towards the bottom lane. They have drawn out a line directly to Stonebank, who's farming the jungle by the tier 2 bottom tower. But the thing is, it's pretty hard to secure a kill around that area when the tier 2 tower is still standing. Stonebank's going to back off at the right time anyway, so it's kind of hard to get him now, but... Oh.
Yeah. It's really awkward. Fade saw a co-op illusion and used his combination on it while his smoke was still up.
Oh.
And I think that just kind of ruined it. You also lost your smoke on Solji. So the gank attempt doesn't work out. The Stampede kind of wasted. It's an opportunity for Bait to kind of go back in, knowing that the movement spell's gone. The way for them to disengage and Felt is gone. They're clumped together here.
Yeah, Solji, a bit of a sitting duck. Nice shackle to set up here from Stonebank and an immediate focus fire. And you know what, John? I was saying in the drafting phase, I wasn't a big fan of the idea of Stonebank playing Posmon Wind Ranger, but I'll give the man props. He's doing a great job so far, proving me wrong.
He's doing a fantastic job just finding these softer targets and melting them down. He's hitting his item spikes. He wasn't really pressured too hard in lane either. So you are getting these big moments now lining up for Bait. Like 8-4, 2k lead up and running. For the side of Felt, it does feel like at this point they're going to need more build-up. You need much more to come out from Berna. He is working towards the... Oh.
Nice shackle. No focus fire necessary. When you've got Stomina with max impetus, the Centaur does not feel that tanky. With all that pure damage you can deal, it's not a problem here for the side of Bait to deal with Felt. It's Felt are really proving to struggle here in game number 1 so far. They are still finding very good farm on Hidden Immune, but it's still not as good as, say, Funnick on the Beastmaster, who's actually top of the net worth board right now with a full Helm of the Overlord up.
Just doing the classic Funnick play of eating up a lot of space when he's given it. With that Overlord, again, you don't have a good response here from Felt to deal with this.
Uh-oh. Speaking of, Hidden Immune, caught out, going to use the pig stick to try and get himself out of here, and in fact the Chain Frost even committed by Albino to offer the space for his carry to get out. And Albino, he's actually still fighting back. Stampede is out. Funnick, he got a little bit too greedy. They find 2 for nothing. Well, I say 2 for nothing. It was a 2 for 1 in the end. But Albino Zebra setting up a very nice counter fight here for the side of Felt.
That's a much bigger win for Felt as well. You just mentioned it. Funnick being number 1 in net worth. Pretty big blow to Bait to lose him out like that. Gives Felt a little bit of a catch up there with these pickups. Still a lot of threat onto Berna for sure, but he's going to be able to run down this Ancient Creep as well. And should just be able to find farm period. No, actually, let's the Ancient Creep live. The Black Dragon will just walk off.
Oh, kids. He's down. Again, like this max impetus, it hurts a lot. As Dominant has a Dragonlance up, realizing how much impact he can have with this Enchantress just by attacking with this Q, and even the Timbersaw with the Vanguard up is not tanky enough to deal with this.
The Vanguard does nothing for you up against the Ench. The pure damage, not really caring for the block. So you're going to need a Disarm coming out here. Maybe just a straight up Blade Mail. Either one kind of works to prevent this output to consistently land onto you. Looks like we will see the Blade Mail as a response from Kits. I don't know if that's enough though, to be completely frank with you. Like it doesn't feel like you really mind too much on the end. You just wait out the duration, go back in. Maybe the Wind Ranger is the one that struggles a little bit more. Even then, probably not the biggest deal. You do have a little bit more protection from Felt at the least with a Crimson Guard. But again, if you can't find the answer for Stominant, then sure, you stop the Wind Ranger, but you're not stopping that Ench, and the Roche does begin. They did scan this out on the side of Felt. They will smoke to contest this.
Yeah. Felt. Moonlight Shadow has been popped as well. However, they already found Solji, who does leap away, but the Shadow Strike poison might actually just kill him off, and it does. Dendi gets the kill as they are still rushing towards the Roshan pit. Fade looking for a hoof stomp. He just stampedes right in though. He's got no blink up, so he's just going to do it the old-fashioned way. But Dendi, he's in with a big sonic wave, immediately TPing up, but he's not going to make it. Dendi is down as they find even Lowdime, but Kit's now in danger as Stonebank takes him out. So Feld have lost 4 for the sake of 2. Not the worst case scenario for Feld, but it is still a huge win for Bait. And they are going to go back to Roshan.
Yeah. No, nothing to stop them. Just really forced from Felt. Like the gate play coming out from Solji pretty much broke that entire movement out. Like they had the sentry down. They just knew some other follow-up action would proceed after Mirana shows up. And that just ruins any surprise factor you have there for Felt in that gank. Bait get to pick up the Aegis. They're feeling really strong. 5k lead coming out off the back of this, 15-8. They've got everything they need. You know, the combinations are lining up for Felt. The item timings aren't quite there. We're not seeing the Timbersaw feel durable at all. You have to find an answer for Stominant. You have to find a way to stop this Enchantress from taking complete damage control in the middle. You're not even worried too much about Stonebank. It's really the Sench that I don't see any easy answers coming out from Felt. Even as this game goes on, you need a disarm somewhere.
Kids. Swap is out. Funnick, he does, or rather Stonebank, he has the focus fire, but it's not going to be enough with the Crimson Guard from Feld. They do pick off Lowdine, still now Fade's in danger. Fade trying to run, but Stonebank cannot dive too far past the T2 tower. Now Hidimune has shown up on the Bloodseeker, so you certainly don't really want to force this any longer. If you are Bait, you know, a nice attempt, but you can't get too overly confident. Against that Crimson Guard, Stonebank is just not doing enough damage.
Yeah, it really doesn't do much at all. I think that is one thing that you have done on Felt. You just remove the relevancy of the Wind Ranger. But it's still the Stominant show, honestly. Like, he feels like the real core. Kits?
Yeah, I mean, Focus Fire was not up and Blade Mail was popped by Kits, so... I mean, even if Focus Fire was there, I don't think Stonebank would necessarily go through with it. And Bait still pushing out the top T2 tower. You do have Edge Beastmaster, so it's a pretty quick process just letting the creeps do the work. But they are going to retreat for now. They won't pressure too much as they don't see Felt on the map at the moment. Now they will, as Hidimune does show up at the top lane. Bait are basically grouped up as 4. Dendi is slowly making his way over to the top lane. Does have the Sonic Wave up again with the Lincoln Sphere now, so it should be a lot harder to land the Rupture. In the end, Bait, they are still going to get away with this T2 tower. There's not really much in the way of defending this one for Felt.
Just have to give it out. You have to respect that push. Respect the output right now on Bait. Get what you can on the side of Felt. Try to hit your own item timings to build into. We are going to see the Kaya Sanj to be finished up by Kits. And the stat resist is going to feel a little bit nice, but again, I'd actually want to see just a disassembly into a Halberd. I don't know if that's something they'll line up for here on the side of Felt. They do Moonlight up, but Bait are also smoked out here.
Felt with the Moonlight, it feels like they just want to retreat and not get caught with their pants down here. Maybe just sensing the Bait have maybe smoked. Kits almost breaking the smoke there of Bait. He'd be a great target. In fact, they're running right towards him. They might have an idea that he's around. Run towards the south, keep farming those other jungle areas, but now Stonebank has got vision. Gleipnir is going to be there. They have caught the Timber. At least the Blade Mail does come out in the nick of time, but Kits needs to find an escape route. He'll go for the TP attempt away, and he's barely going to make it. The scream did not connect. In fact, I believe it's still traveling across the map somewhere. And for Kits, there it goes. He takes it now. Very, very close call. In fact, I say he takes it. It comes in now. There you go. There's the spin.
It chases him across. Pretty good dodge out from the side of Felt. Kit's just tanky enough to get through that one and just waste the time of bait. It does lead to, you know, space coming out for Felt. They're able to still farm up for a little bit longer. They're hitting their own timings. The Lincolns for Berna not too far off in the Bloodseeker. You're going to be able to find that sooner rather than later, at least to have some protection on hand. I will say it's starting to get really oppressive to play up against bait. Like the vision game you get with the Hawks and even the Wave of Terror to scout out can be a bit tough. They will smoke out on the side of Felt. See if they find the angle though.
Here we go again. They're going to try and make a jump in. Stolman this time does get caught on his own, so he will drop as Dendy's going to try for a TP play out. He did get ruptured, so he's out of there. The rest of Bait need to find their own way out of this one. I think Lodine is guaranteed to just die here as the Vengeance. There's not really much he can do at the moment. And eventually he will. Trying to make it as hard as possible, but he's just going to die. Meanwhile, Funnick, he goes through the twin gates. He'll just start pushing out the top lane instead. Ultimately, though, for Felt, a nice little engagement, finding 2 targets, 2 supports for their trouble. I guess they could just push out the bot wave a little bit, but I'm not sure if they're in a position where they really want to try and force anything like the tier 2 bottom.
Doesn't feel like it, although they can at least just shove in. And again, keep trying to build up while they can. Good punishment to just find 1 support. Not the biggest kill in the world here for Felt to find.
They're pretty close by here to Funnick, but he has the vision here, John. Has the roar up as well, so he might actually want to fight. Albino looks like a free kill. Kits is kind of around the area. Ultimately, Funnick does decide he won't go for it. He'd rather just stick around and keep farming this area, be in position to push out the top wave over and over again. This is something you see from Funnick a lot of, right? Like just staying on the top side of the map and just pushing out the side lanes. Very effective in buying your other core space.
They do know he's around, Kits.
Well, Funnick, he'll just TP. No way to cancel. Not for the Timber, that is. They will at least be able to find the Helm of the Overlord creep, so there's something for their trouble. But the rest of Bait, they are moving up. They want to fight now. Hidden narrowly avoiding Funnick, who does have the Roar up and ready. Kits gonna get swapped in. Roar is there immediately. Fade, he got a double hoof stop though. It's a pretty nice setup here from Felt, but they need to get Kits out of there. Kits, he's barely alive. He's actually made it out. Stonebank's the one to go down. Funnick also dropping now as Dendy is still trying to deal with Albino Zebra. The Lich may drop eventually, but Dendy's gonna drop first. Oh, what a mess. Bait losing 4. They try to start with Kits, but he narrowly just gets away.
And it's an awkward set of circumstances. You had a swap coming out while you were running up with Stonebank, so a little bit misaligned. If you got literally a second extra, or even just like 3 extra right clicks from Focus Wire, which isn't too hard, you could have found Kits. And once Kits is out of the picture, you have a really smooth ride in trying to clean up everyone else. But it gives the angle in for Fade to get that huge hoof stomp off, only losing out on Albino Zebra, who was denied off anyway. And for Bait, just maybe a little bit miscoordinated coming out in that fight. Again, the swap just a little bit awkward when they were positioning to shackle from the low ground as well, and just throwing off Stonebank's positioning to get that kill. It's not enough to just land those chain stunts. You have to pump the damage into Kits. And he is getting tankier as this game goes on. The Ag's not too far off now for our Timbersaw. It's the reactive armor active going to be up there with a barrier. Combine that with just having this blade mail, and it does feel like you'll have to focus fire elsewhere. You can't insta burst down Kits at this point in the game going forward with the full Ags done on the Timb. For Bait, you're still seeing a lot of output. You're still seeing the value in, say, the Wind Ranger Venge. You have to pick and choose your targets, and you can't just swap from the low ground into the high ground just to hammer in your roar when your core is lining up to shackle and play from that same area where the Timbersaw is at. So again, that entire swap feels like it did cause most of the issues here for Bait. Felt they're not going to be asking those questions. They get control into the Roche. Bait are smoked up though. They can contest.
They are going to be there in time, I believe, as Roshan is half HP now. Oh, I say they might make it in time. It's going to be rather close here. Roshan still going down. Power shot. It gives the vision, but they're not in time to get the Roshan still, as they are going to try and still go for the fight, but Fade just pops the Stampede. Lodine's already down. Storminen, he's not doing as much damage as he used to. He wants to get out of there, but he's been nullified up. He will also go down. Stonebank will TP. Funnick and Dendy will walk the old-fashioned way. But they have lost two supports here on the side of Bait. Felt now walking around with the Aegis and Cheese in hand.
Radiant's top tower.
And maybe even just looking to go high ground now, because they are looking extremely strong.
Radiant structures are fortified.
I don't think you're too scared here on the side of Felt. You can just go for the tier 2s. Probably the safer bet to just gun for at least 2 tier 2 towers, but with how tanky you are, with how well you can frontline on Fade, you probably can just force a tier 3 down if you wish. They'll take the Tormentor first, so they get the free shard on the Mirana. They've got these dust clouds coming out from the leap, which is honestly, this shard doesn't feel amazing. I guess the extra charge and leap is pretty big, and they will just go for the tier 3. Again, with how tanky you are, with how much damage you have, you're not too concerned. You force out the fortify pretty damn early here, so you're just gonna be able to rip through it. And I like that Fade is just in the back. Like, they just want to use that stomp to put an end to any counterplay here.
Dominant.
Has been killed. Dire's bottom tower has fallen. Dire's
Felt they are going right for the top racks. The Fortify is not going to let them retreat. Swap is there. Lodine trying to secure a kill onto Hidden Mune, but keep in mind, he does still have the Aegis up. Sonic Wave's going to be committed. Hidden Mune is actually surviving throughout all of this. So nothing really taking him down. And they will get the melee racks, as it seems like they want to get away. Hits does pop the reactive armor now with the Aghanim Scepter, so he's going to just tank through all the damage they have to throw at him. And Felt, they get away successfully. Nobody dies. Even the Aegis remains intact.
Yeah, they did have to pop Cheese and Kits, but more than worthwhile for what you've managed to get there. Up top, taking the melee racks does provide at least one lane, constantly shoving in here for the side of Felt. For Bait, they've done a great job of holding up against that aggression from Felt. They still have some pretty good damage coming through. There's some good timings here as well. Dominant is going for the good old Spoink. The Ags, just about 100 gold off on the Enchantress. Basically playing like the semi-core here, as you tend to see most Enchantress players go. I don't know if this is enough at this point. At the least, it's consistent output onto these tanky heroes, but we're not seeing that burst play come out. The Dendy Ags does feel like it's going to be a bigger deal than the Enchantress Ags. Like, just having those screams of pain coming out, consistent magical damage, consistent slows. It is fairly annoying for the side of Felt to deal with, so we'll see when Dendy does pick it up, just how much it will do. And for Stomin, how much he can do with these Spoinks up. It is fairly annoying to always have a way of increasing that distance between yourself and the enemy heroes, to be fair. Spoink being on a 4-second cooldown is pretty disgusting.
It'd be pretty annoying. I felt they're going to go through the bottom wave now into the tier 3 tower. You really haven't got many buybacks available on the map right now. It's really only Dendy, as Fade is going to try to move in. Lodine, he cops the arrow as well on the backside, so they even thought about continuing, but they'll let Lodine live for now. This top lane is also being ratted here by Bait, so they are just trying to trade, realizing that they may not actually be able to win a team fight. Hit immune though, nice rupture on Funnick. We'll go for the nullifier, but the BKB TP was there, so he's going to be just fine. But they do get away with the melee barracks to the bot lane anyway. And Felt, even though they lost the T3 tower, they lose nothing else. So not a big deal. Felt still walk away with 2 racks up and only the mid racks left.
You're still pretty happy on the side of Felt. Bait, I mean, they're getting something on the map. It's just not big enough considering what you're losing as well. And this gets a little bit rough scaling up. The Wind Ranger's output is still nice, but it doesn't feel like you're able to burst down heroes the same way Felt is with her chain control as well, though.
Stun is out on hit immune, but he has the Lincoln Sphere up. You do have the Ags up on Dendi now as well, so plenty of burst damage he can deal as the Quap. He's going to be able to stay alive and just keep spamming out Shadow Strikes and Screams if he wants to get that damage out, as they have made a jump in. Lowdyne again getting caught out here on the Venge. So Feld looking for a little bit more while they can. Dendi slowed up for a moment, is going to be just fine. Stonebank looking to try and move in. Gleipnir is out, but they do not have the follow-up. Stun, in the meantime, has called Stominen, and Stominen, he is just dead. No survival here for the Inch. So both supports down with that buyback now. Stonebank, nice shackle. He's going to try and move it onto the Bloodseeker, and he's got him. Hit immune. Hit immune is down. Kits is still fighting here, though. Onto Dendi. The gaze is there. The arrow does connect. Dendi's been caught. Dendi is down. Stonebank needs to get himself out of here. And will be able to do so, but it seems like Felt are not intending on backing off quite yet. That they are getting chipped away at. They may need to be pretty cautious about their position. Kits, he's going to get swapped. Fade, he'll make the jump in. Stonebank trying to help out, but Lowdyne is gone once again. His Kits is just not backing off, but now the focus fire is up from Stonebank. Thing is, he just pops that reactive armor again. And the shield makes it so it's just too challenging to actually deal enough damage to Kits. So he's going to be fine to walk away. And with that Felt, they only get a T2 tower out of this, but they found some nice kills. Obviously, with that hit immune, it's kind of hard to go after the mid-rack, so they are just going to wait it out till next time.
You're more than happy, though, with that result. You get some good damage done onto the tier 3, down to around half HP now. And you get some good kills in the process. Like, you don't mind that too much, despite sacrificing your Bloodseeker. You're still in a really strong position here for Felt. They're forced to kind of try to fix their lanes now on the side of Bait. And Felt can just play the map to get a little bit more of their own build-up, if necessary. I would say, now, I love Centaur Ags. I don't think this is the game for it, but I don't know. It could be. What happens when you hitch a ride and then your Timbersaw decides to Timber Chain? What happens then? It just drags you out, surely, out of the cart, right?
I mean, it'd be hilarious if you just drag both of you with the chain. The Centaur's just coming with you now. So, Kits is actually trying to protect the double damage. Ends up picking it up himself instead on the Timbers. A very nice shackle out from Stonebank. Fade is already going to go down. Bait not looking too bad already in this fight. Problem is, Dendi has been caught by the Nullifier, but did not cop the Rupture. His hit immune, I think, messed up the timing a little bit there. You'd rather the Rupture than the Nullifier on the Quap. Regardless, though, they do lose Fade. So Bait trying to fight back here. Problem is, like, that bottom lane is being pushed in again just by the creep wave. So Dendi is forced to rotate and defend this himself. And I don't think Bait can actually afford to go as 4 into that mid T2 tower. They might try, though. It's a matter of whether Felt want to fight. And, well, I mean, perhaps Felt just don't fight this. But they are TPing in. Solji leaping right in on his own. Here comes the cavalry. Funnick immediately popping his BKB, looking for a nice raw target. Hasn't found one yet. Needs the Lincolns to be broken on hit immune. Now can do so. Swap out from Lowdyne and try and keep Funnick alive. He's still running away, but Kits is on the chase. In the meantime, they have found Albino Zebra, and Funnick has successfully gotten out. Stonebank is able to BKB TP away, so they don't find the T2 tower. It's actually one hit away from dying. It's on 3 HP. But they do get away with Albino Zebra's life. And I think for Bait, just holding on to the game right now is probably going to be good enough.
That's more than worthwhile. You don't lose heroes for your trouble. You find a kill. You basically find that tier 2. I don't think this counts as the tower still being alive. Maybe you won't get the gold if Felt does decide to get the deny. But again, you're stalling for time. Roshan is back up though. Both sides going to be focusing on that with the refresh on hand. And Felt are in a position to clear it out fairly quick. They've got about 1:40 until the Roche switches sides. Should just be able to gun for it, although for now, not quite committing. There is a Hawk watching here from Bait as well. They should be able to connect and contest. if the side of Felt isn't careful.
Here we go, Bait grouping up again. Fade gonna see them. He's in that Moonlight Shadow, so he could have a pretty nice setup here on the Centaur. Trying to loop around from the back, looking for that big angle. He does find Dendi. He found Funnick as well. Lowdyne going to try and swap the Beastmaster around him for now. Funnick is fine to BKB up, but they are melting to the damage of Hidden Mune, who just takes out Funnick. Now they've got Stominant. The buybacks are incoming from Bait, but they are still dropping like flies. It's going to be 3v5 now for this next Roshan. And I think as Bait, you just got to push out the side lanes now. You can't fight for this.
Too costly of a fight coming out there from Bait. Really good use of that Ice Spire and the Chain Frost coming out from Albino Zero. Like, the swap isn't enough to save from Lowdyne. The bounces go onto Funnick and then follow Dendi down, and sometimes the Pachinko machine is playing your way, playing your game. You're the house, and you win that dice roll. Now Felt, with the Aegis up, with a refresh, with a cheese on hand, it's going to be a pretty hard defense from Bait. Like, you had to buy back. So you don't have that much security, especially if Dendi faults now. And for Felt, again, it was a bit of a struggle early on. We were seeing some big openings coming out from Bait. But they just kick into gear. And the one issue for Bait is that they're mainly single target control. Unless we see something big like another double shackle shot out from Stonebank, it just feels awkward to take these fights.
I mean, they are still trying. Kids tanking through again with the reactive armor shield. He does need to back his way out as it does wear off. The tier 3 tower, though very low now, is going to go down to the damage of Hidden Mune as he does pop a Rupture. It's going to be onto Stominant. Seems like Felt just want to ensure they do not get chased. They are not going to commit for the full racks. Even with the Aegis cheese up, they want to reset. Make sure they're healthy and come back later. They are still 24k ahead here, Felt, so there's not really too much to be worried about. You know, one bad team fight for Felt, though, and the game could switch very quickly, so they do need to play this somewhat cautiously. It's Bait. Smoke up mid lane. They're going to see Hidden Mune. But the problem is his whole team's behind him. He's back up to full HP. Still has the Aegis, has a Refresher Shard available in the backpack as well. So the Bloodseeker is going to be a pretty hard target to jump first. Instead, they're going to try for Albino Zebra. But he will be able to walk away. They aren't able to commit.
Yeah, you just can't really force too much outside right now for Bait. Felt, yeah, they've got control of the map. They've got everything on hand. They've got the Aegis. You don't really want to fight into that for Bait. And again, for Bait, big issue right now is just basically AoE control. These team fights, you're mainly single target. You've got Roar, Shackle Shot. You can't keep these heroes down from Felt to look for that burst opening unless you get the double Shackle out from Stonebank, which is easier said than done. He's had a pretty impressive Wind Ranger game overall, but it's just harder to play as the game goes on here.
Jump in, Rupture again committed. Stominant, he's the one to tank the damage. He will just stand his ground though as Fade down a nice hoof stomp has found Stonebank, but the swap from Lowdyne is going to save. But now the Chain Frost just bouncing between everybody. Sonic Wave committed from Dendi, trying to push them back, but they are still just rushing forward. Hidden Mune, at least he has lost the Aegis. Wave need a lockdown 2 here from Stonebank. They want the Bloodseeker though. Hidden Mune still trying to fight back. The arrow not going to land, but the hoof stomp is there onto the Wind Ranger. Stonebank is gone. Funnick is also down. This game is looking very over now, as Felt can just put an end to this game. Even Stominant barely surviving in the fountain. Hidden Mune about to drop, is going to go down, but they are wiping out the rest of Bait. It's only Stominant left. See if the Ench can do it on his own, but I don't think so. He's going to try. Hurricane Pike out onto the Centaur. Fade dropping extremely low, does go down, but Stominant eventually will die as he will buy back. So does Fade. Jump in. Hoofstomp is out onto the Ench. Arrow's not going to land though. Stominant just pouncing around with the spring. Does pounce right back into them though. Trying to just create a little bit of space for these tier 4 towers. But GG is called. He has gone down. Felt mean, they were off to a pretty rough start. Like, Bait were having a really good first 15-20 minutes. But a couple of lackluster team fights for Bait, and felt they managed